Hey, welcome to episode 2 of Kickstart the Mothership. How are you doing, Shannon?
I'm good. I'm super excited already. It's episode 2.
I
We're off to
know.
a start.
We're off to an amazing start. So just to remind you, if you've missed what we're doing, this is our brand new podcast. If you've missed it, go back and listen to episode 1. It's now online. You can get it in all the places at your fave podcasting app. But just to fill you in, I'm Barbara Nixon and
I'm Shannon Stone.
And we are we're both business owners, and we've decided to get together and create a podcast called Kickstart Your Mothership. Kickstart the Mothership.
The Mothership, yeah.
And we're going to be looking at self-help and business books, personal development books, and we're going to be implementing them. So each book will have a month of our time where we're literally trawling our way through it and we're actually implementing it. So not only are we going to be like superhumans by the end of it, but you will be too. So the books that we're working on, you can find them in our show notes. So if you want to go and play along, that'd be great. But we are now currently in episode 2, and we're working on the Success Principles by Jack Canfield. Now, this is a timeless classic for the pair of us. We both have a lot of warm, gooey feelings for this book, don't we?
Yeah, it's like the Bible. It's the Bible of the self-helpy world, I think.
Yeah, I agree. So last week, go back and have a listen, but last week we covered a lot of the book, but we're going to look at another principle today. And the one that we've chosen is principle number 35, which is 99% is a bitch and 100% is a breeze. What is this all about, Shannon? What do you reckon?
Yeah, well, this is a really good one. I think of all the 67s, this one, I reread it, but it's a really, really good one. So basically, it's about, committing, 100% committing. It's either you do something 100% or you're not doing it at all, which I think is, I had a personal trainer at one point in time, and every week he had a meal plan for me and would do a check-in every week, and his big word was compliance. It's like, were you 100% compliant this week? And it was either you were or you weren't. It's like, 80% is not compliant, 100% is compliant. So that really stuck with me. And basically, that's what this principle is about. It's about going completely in. And you can apply this to everything, not just food, but habits, business, everything that you do, whatever it is. This podcast, we're doing 100%. We're going to show up 100%, do the episodes. Yeah.
And get stuck in. And you're absolutely right. I love this principle as well. And in the last week, we've been working on this principle. And I had a bit of I sat down during the week and thought, when in my life have I gone completely all in? And one of the things that struck me was when I was about 11, I became a vegetarian. And it was an all-in situation. It was, and I can't describe it any other way. It wasn't I'm going to, just acclimatize to it, or just, have meat a couple of times a week. And no judgment at all. It's just how I did it. I just literally went from eating meat one day to this is who I am now. I'm a vegetarian and I don't eat meat. And that's been the complete way of me eating since then. That was I'm 100% committed. And when you do commit 100%, it just becomes easier. And that's why it becomes easier. This half-heartedness or half-assed approach it makes it hard. And so his title, 99% is a bitch, 100% is a breeze, is so true, because when we do things kind of, I'll do it a little bit, or I'll break my promises a few times, it becomes hard.
It does. Just the simple decision making around it. It's like, am I going to stick to it this time? Or am I not? And if you just take that out and just say, no, it's a very black and white, yes or no type of thing, it makes it so much easier on yourself. Yeah. And
one of the things that he wrote here is only on a full moon. And I really, really like that. You know, that it's on page 293, if you want to catch up with where I am, Shannon. So, 293, one of the subheadings is only on a full moon. And that to me says it's about keeping the promises to yourself. And we touched upon this last episode, didn't we, about how important it is to keep your own promises.
Yeah, I think they're the most important ones, really. It's the ones we keep to ourselves and we tell ourselves that are most important.
Yeah, I completely agree. So let's have a bit of a chat about why is it then that those are the ones that we break?
Ooh, you're hitting us with the hard stuff.
I know, straight off the bat. Get your cup of tea ready.
Yeah. Why might need a coaching session after this.
Yeah, I'm here for you. So what is it about? Why is it that we kind of do break the promises to ourselves? And how do we stop doing that? How do we go? How do we make the decisions that are complete, that are 100%, no questions, I'm all in?
Yeah. Well, if I think about myself because I think, we're all human and we do and have broken promises to ourselves. One of the things that I picked up in the personal development world, I think there's a few terms for it, but softeners or buffers. It's like we kind of convince ourselves that, say, let's do a fun one. Say the 100% commitment was, I'm not going to eat chocolate. Well, in the book, so only on a full moon, he's got a story of a guy who didn't eat, I think it's cake. I don't know if it was just cake, but maybe sweets altogether. But only on a full moon, he would let himself indulge on that only on a full moon. And so if it's like him, for example, it's like, oh, it's not a full moon, maybe I'll have some of that. It's like it starts to, I think, break little pieces away. It's like it's softening the commitment that you have to yourself. And if you do that, you continuously chip away. And I think we can break the promises to ourselves because we convince ourselves, oh, it's okay this time, or maybe no one's watching, but the most important person is watching, and that's yourself. Yeah. So what do you think? Why do you think we break promises to ourselves?
I think you're absolutely right. I think it's because we can. I think it's that easy because we can, and that we don't have to justify it to anybody else. It's easy to say, oh, it's just this once. It's okay. I'll start again tomorrow. And because we want to, because we have a feeling of, actually, I really want that chocolate biscuit, or I really want that cake. And we forget about the reason why we're doing it in the first place.
Yeah.
This is why, going back to his title of 99% is a bitch, because then it just becomes more challenging. You're now battling with yourself. When the way that I describe this with myself and my clients, and anybody will listen really, is that it's like putting a flag in the sand and drawing a line in the sand, putting a flag in the sand, whatever term you want to use. It's from now on, this is my new normal, this is my way of being. And when you make that decision, because there's so much power in a decision, isn't there?
Yeah.
Make a decision with intent, with passion, with this stops now, I am doing this from this moment on, and you're all in. It becomes so much easier. It's easy to make the decision. Shall I have cake? No, because I don't do that anymore. Shall I eat meat? I don't do that anymore. Shall I still accept these types of clients but do this type of work? No, because I don't do that anymore. It makes decision making so much easier, doesn't it?
Yeah, it really does. But I think as well, and I've got a story to share, it doesn't mean it's simple. Like the actual act of it doesn't mean from this day forward, I've decided that this is what I'm doing and it's going to be really simple and easy on me. And it reminds me, in 2020, I made the decision that I would close my social media business. So I had my social media business, had clients alongside my consulting. I had a team of, I think, 3 assistants at that point doing all the practical work. But I decided that, no, this is the time that I want to close the business, exit the business, give the business, sell the business. Like, I didn't want to do that aspect anymore. And so I made the decision by the end of that year, I would not be, like, moving into 2021, it's 100% doing my consulting and that's it. I don't want to be responsible for anything extra than, you know, my consulting really. And I made the decision that I was going to close it some way, somehow by the end of the year. But I'm telling you, it was like a merry-go-round of like, I knew I made the decision, but it was like, how am I going to do this? Am I going to do this? But I just kept coming back to, no, I've made the decision. And I didn't exactly know, like that one's probably a bit more difficult. It's not like cutting out cake or chocolate or something like that. There's, I think, more pieces to the puzzle. But it felt like a merry-go-round. But I just kept coming back to it. No, I've made the decision. How am I going to do this? And yeah, there is a lot of power in making a decision, and I think a lot of power in doing something 100%, but it doesn't mean it's always as simple. It's not always very easy.
It's not always easy. And that's such a good example. It's a really good story because you had to tie up loose ends. You had to sort things out. You couldn't just go, oh, okay, I'm not doing that anymore, because there was a business there.
Yeah. And I was convincing, you know, the thoughts come up. It's like, oh, do I? Because it was very much a passive income business. The money came in. It was very systemized. And so like the little things, it's like, oh, but it's really good. It's like my foundation. It's my comfort blanket. If anything happens, I've got that income coming in. And so all the little stories that could make me go backwards in the decision, they all start to come up.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, I remember, and a completely different example about, it might have been it was 2019. Although it's many years ago now, it feels like
all the moons ago.
So much has happened since then. So I decided around New Year's that I was going to take up running that year. Now, for anybody that knows me,
oh my goodness, go you.
What's she doing? Because I don't run. So, but I thought I'm going to do a couple of 10Ks. I'm going to, literally be a runner that year. And so I made the decision that I was going to run 3 times a week. And I literally did that for come snow. I ran in blizzards. I ran.
Oh my goodness. Wow.
I ran in all the weathers. Yeah. But going back to your point, this wasn't an easy thing. One, I was creating a new habit. 2, it was a completely abnormal habit that I'd just plucked out of thin air. It was completely alien to me. But there were days when I looked outside and it was snowing and I didn't want to put my trainers on. And I thought, I just want to stay here and watch, a box set, or I just want to do something else. Oh, this running malarkey, what am I doing? This is just a stupid idea. But just, again, the power of a decision, just like what you did, you're always coming back to that decision. It's your anchor point. It's your North Star. You decided it for a reason. Get your trainers on. And yes, you will tie up the loose ends of your business. But, today, this is what I'm doing. So you're right. It's not always easy because we're battling with ourselves all the time. But the decision is the anchor point, isn't it? It's just your map.
Yeah. And one thing that I do is that's such a great example. And I love, like you said, like there was a bit of an identity thing in there. It was like, I am a runner now. Like I'm going to do, and so I think with the decisions, whether it's that one or a different one, it's like, how can you help yourself to follow through with that decision? Like, is it that you tell yourself certain things? Do you put certain habits on? And I think it depends on what kind of habit it is or what kind of thing you're going to go all in and 100% on, because they're all different. What are your thoughts? What would be great things for people to try to go 100% on, and where could you start? Because I think if I think about myself, I think it's probably, this is not something I've done intentionally or by default. Well, I've had to do it intentionally. I never did these type of things by default, except, the little basics like brushing my teeth and making my bed and I've gotten dressed every single day of my life. But
that in itself is good.
That in itself is good. That's an achievement. Yeah. But if we want to think of the next step, what do we choose? Where do we start with going in on something?
Right. So the one thing that I kind of want to pick up on that you said is sometimes the basics are the best place to start, like making your bed or things that pack you off about your day. So if you're, look at making your bed. That's a really good example. So if you're always coming back to your bed at the end of the day and going, oh, my bed's all crumpled up and it's all a mess, that if that's hacking you off, that's a great place to start and say, right, from tomorrow, I'm going to make my bed every single day. So I'd say, first of all, look at the things that are really annoying you that you're just doing, not out of habit. Now, I call habits that don't serve you anymore just out of date habits. So they're like the old cheese in the back of your fridge that you really should get rid of, but we're just not getting that far. So if it's not serving you anymore, like not making your bed, start there. Otherwise, things that you want to do that kind of inspire you or interest you. So for my running, I don't even know how it started, to be honest, where I got this crazy idea. It is, and for a lot of people, it's not a crazy idea. For me, it really was. It was an out of the ordinary idea.
To me, it's a crazy, like running in the UK, like it seems freezing.
I would have been boiling for you, wouldn't it? In my head, running for you in Australia, it'd be boiling. So
I know, two extremes of weather. We just shouldn't run. But actually, I have been thinking about signing up for a marathon just because I do want to I want to be a runner. I want to get into it.
Well, I'm not a runner anymore. I was a runner for about 9 months, but I'm not a runner now. But anyway, that's a different story. Maybe a different principle we can talk about.
Yeah. Maybe a different book.
Really different book. Yeah, if you've got any books on running and how to become a runner, please send it our way. So I've forgotten what the question was. Where do we start? Start with the basics, I think, and also things that you want to do. Because when I started the running thing, it was just, I really wanted to be able to say that I'd run 10K. I knew people that had run 10K. In our town, city, we have a big 10K event every single year, and it's fabulous. And and I always wanted to be part of it, not just watching it. I thought, I wonder what it'd be like to actually be in it. So that was So the first thing that I did was register for the events, and then it cemented the goal. So I think anything that you tolerate in and anything that you really want to do, I think that's a great place to start. Would you agree?
Yeah, definitely. I think what would be fun is if we pick a new habit that we want to go 100% all in on. What could be something that we choose?
What would it be? What would yours be? A brand new habit. It's got to be brand new, totally brand new. So we can't have done it before.
What do you think? Well, I've nailed the getting dressed every day and the brushing my teeth and the making my bed. So I've got 3 things under my belt.
Brilliant. I'm going to have sleeping in as maybe mine. No, so in all seriousness, let me have a think. What would it be? I need to give that some thought, actually. What would a brand new habit be?
Well, one that I did start, and I think you've also started it as well, is recently we were talking about our 5-year goals, and we watched a really awesome video which prompted us to figure out what are our 5-year goals, and then every single day write them down and write down what are 3 actions you're going to take today towards it. Like, this is me and Barbara on a high with our like personal development stuff.
This is just our chats every single day.
This is our stuff.
Just behind the scenes. So you got that from somewhere. Where did you get that from? Can you remember?
It was a TikTok video that I saw on Instagram. And it was by I think it's a Stanford University professor. And he shared basically his summary of personal development and all the books that he's read, and it came down to setting 5-year goals, your 5-year goals, and part of that was the 5-year goals, because you're not going to expect to achieve it next week, but you can do something towards it right now if you break it down into small steps every day. So setting the 5-year goals, and then what are 3 things you're going to do every single day towards that. And it can be as simple as reading a book on it. It could be researching something. It could be, depends on the goal, opening a bank account for a savings thing or whatever it is. It'd be dependent on the goal. But every single day for 5 years, like, you're taking 1,000 steps towards that goal. And I think that's amazing.
I do. I think that's amazing. And I'm still doing that. Since we had our conversation, I'm still doing that.
Yeah.
Because thought of making all of these steps forward are incredible. But I tell you, a new habit that I actually did create is, and you know the author of the book, and I can't remember now, maybe you can remember, is doing morning pages every morning. Who wrote that book?
Is it Julie Cameron?
I don't know.
Yeah, it could be.
So this is, the concept is called morning pages, and it's as soon as you wake up in the morning, you grab your notebook and your pen and you write down 3 pages of free writing, where you just write anything that comes out of your head. So there's no pressure, no judgment, no structure, just pure whatever comes out. And I started this because it was recommended to me by a colleague of mine, and I just love it. I love the fact that it can be anything. There's just literally
no boundaries, no structure. Yeah.
And the stuff that comes up is just awesome. I really like it. It can be, nonsense. It can be insights. It can, anything. Just straight off the bat. As you
can
wake
be what
up.
you see around the room. I did do morning pages for a few weeks, I would say, maybe a couple of months, if that. It didn't connect with me at the time, but I know it's a global sensation, that book. I think millions of people have read it. So many people attribute their success to it. So I think when I'm ready, I'll have to come back to it. But morning pages, I know a lot of people rave about it.
Well, when you're ready, Shannon, 99% is a bitch and 100% is a breeze.
Yeah. And that's the thing. I'll start something when I know I want to commit. Otherwise, it's kind of like a bit of a waste of time, I think. We're kind of like just dipping our toes in, and I think we don't get too far when we do that.
No. Yeah, I think you're right. You have to really commit. But sometimes you do have to force yourself to commit, I think.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I mean that in the nice, because when what I'm talking about is commitment to things that you want to do, not to anything that's a bit weird. But so the thing I'm thinking is that the motivation's not always there to do it. We have an idea and go, oh, I'll do it tomorrow. Or like what you said in the last episode, we'll see.
Yeah.
I'll start running. I want to do a 10K, and it just becomes something that you talk about rather than ever do. So I think sometimes you have to go out and buy the trainers and book the event and go, today, right now, right this second, I'm going running.
And you're right about booking the things, buying the things. Sometimes I'll think, okay, what do I need? Because you're right, motivation doesn't last. It's not always there. So I think, what do I need to have in place to make sure I do that thing? And it's like, do you need to go buy the running shoes and book the ticket for the 10K and maybe get an accountability buddy? What are the things you need to get in place to help you to follow through? It's like, we're not setting ourselves up for failure or trying to make it hard. We can make it easy, and we can make it fun, and we can do things to help us stick to it 100%. But yeah, a few things I had highlighted in the book or in this principle. 100% commitment is actually easier to keep, which I think we just know that. It's like, it's just very black or white. Just, you're either doing it or you're not. And he ends it on by saying 100% commitment to excellence in everything you do. And we won't get into this principle, but there is another principle that talks about being a class act. And to me, that is about excellence. And I think, we are the creators of our life. Like, we are the artists of our life. And why not love everything you do? Why not show up fully to everything that you do and do it with excellence? Otherwise, I think life just passes you by. It's like, wouldn't you love to say you fully did that thing to its like 100% ability, to your 100% ability? And, I think a lot of excellence and I think self-confidence comes from that as well.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. I think what you've said there, it's excellence, your excellence. So it's not measuring against anybody else. Because I think that's one of the rabbit holes that we can fall into quite easily and go, oh, they're doing it this way, or I'm not as good as that person, which again sets us up to fail. So it's got to be, I'm going to do it all in to my, I'm going to try my best, whatever that looks like. It's my best. Yeah, it's going to be excellent for me. And for some people, well, you know, it depends. It just depends on where you're at that time. But it's, again, no judgment and no failure. You're just going all in. I think that's the secret. Just jumping in and
and letting the all in be the winning. It's like, you don't have to come first in the 10K. Like, I could never imagine I'm ever going to win a 10-kilometer race, but I can practice every day. I can finish the race. I can show up. And to me, that is the excellence. Just, you know, getting to the finish line. It doesn't mean I have to come first and win the trophy. And
not for me, it really wasn't winning. Again, there is no place in this universe where I'd win a 10K, and I've got no intention or desire to do that. Maybe if I did have a desire, then that'd be, you know, I'd go for that. But there was no desire. I just wanted to be part of the event, and I just wanted to be. I just wanted to complete it and go, I've got my medal. Oh, and that was ace. I actually did it. You know, I really did it. Wear your t-shirt with pride and all of that stuff. So you decide what your idea of excellence is. That's
it is. I feel like we should put a dare out there. I think we should all do another 10K. Like, everyone should sign up for a 10K race.
Who are you? Thanks for listening to our podcast. We're ending there. I mean, I've done 2. You go and do one.
It's one to think about. I'm going to think about it. And what we should do is, you know, instead of telling everyone to do a 10K, decide what your 100% commitment is going to be. And it'll be awesome, I think, to hear from people what their thing is going to be. Maybe it's just making the bed. I fell out of that for a little bit.
Yeah, whatever it is, tag us on Instagram and Facebook or wherever your favorite place to hang out is, and tell us what you're going to go 100% in. And we can cheer each other on and see what happens. I think you've got a 10K in you, Shannon. I think that's what you've been telling me subtly.
I know. Look out. It's a season for it. We're in winter here. So I think around August, September, we start to have these ultra marathons happen. I've done one once before, actually. So I have done one.
What did you do? An ultra?
No, not an ultra, but I did a 10K. I I didn't train for it, but I did show up on the day and do it.
That's amazing. So what are you going for half marathon next time?
We'll see how we go. I think
we'll see.
I'll decide on the day. I'll let my that's like a recipe for disaster, deciding on the moment.
Don't do that. Jeez. Yeah, don't try this at home. You're going to decide what you're going to go full on commitment, and we'll put it in the show notes, I think, shall we? And we'll share it on social. And then if you can tag us what you've decided to go all in, whatever that might be, it's perfectly cool. You know, it's all good.
Yeah.
Should we leave it there? Should we? And we'll see everybody next week. Yeah. What do you reckon? If you are listening to this, please do tag us on social. Let us know what you think about this podcast. And what books, I would also love to know what books you'd like us to check out and implement and put into practice. The other thing is, if you think that somebody else would benefit from this, then please feel free to share with your audience or your friends. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button. I think that covers everything, don't you?
Yeah, that's everything. Good episode. That was principle number 35. We'll be back for another principle in the next episode. I'm loving these. These are a lot of fun. I hope everyone else is too.
Yeah, me too. All right, I'll see you next week.
All right, see ya.